Hello guys, welcome back to the newest video of our Roblox scripting tutorial series. Last video we went over returns, arguments, and parameters. In today's video, we're going to go over operators. Operators are really important, so make sure to pay attention. What operators are symbols or words that Roblox has for us to basically make more logic in our game. And I'll show you an example right now. So we have these OR operator, we have AND, we have not, we have equal, and we have this not equal to. And we have basic ones from like elementary math, like greater than, less than, greater than, equal to. These basic ones that I'm not going to go over because you should probably know what these are. Now, let's actually make some scripts first. So first things first, let's make a print. And let's use this equal to operator. So what does this mean? So we can say print 5 is equal to 5. And this is going to be true. So what this does is this is a comparison of two values. You're basically saying, is 5 equal to 5? It's not the same as saying 5 is equal to 5. Because this is a declaration operator. You're basically setting a variable's value to something else, to some sort of data. While this is a comparison value, is this equal to? And you're going to see this forever in scripting. This looks like a penis. Anyways, print 3 is not equal to 5. Is this true? That's true. 3 is not equal to 5. And most of the time, these are going to be bool values. So let's actually print this out. These comparison operators are going to usually become bool values. There you go. See, true. And that's very useful because you get this basically like an if statement broken down. You're basically saying, is 5 equal to 5? Is 3 not equal to 5? So now, let's use it more practically. Now, we'll actually just comment these out. And we'll use it something more practical. We'll say, if 5 is equal to 5, then print 5 is 5. And boom. You're basically saying if, then our condition is 5 is equal to 5. And this comes out as a bool value, true or false. So, is if true, basically, like this is going to be true, then print 5 is equal to 5. Else if 3 is equal to 5, then print, what the hell? 3 is supposed to not be 5. So yeah, but this is never going to run because 5 is always going to be 5. And then and that's really just a basic rundown of equal and not equal to. The not equal to is really just saying, is this not equal to? It's the opposite of equal. But now let's actually use these important ones up here. So let's make some variables. Let's say has sword as a variable. And let's make it a bool. So let's say it's true. And let's say health. Or no, actually has armor is equal to true. And local health is equal to 50. So these are our variables. So let's just name these configs. What this is saying is like the player's, his values. And now let's say if has sword and has armor. And this and condition right here is basically saying this if statement will only run if all of these conditions are true. And we can have as many as we want. We can say a bunch of stuff, and has pants, and has potion. This can go on forever. As many conditions as we want. So now, if has sword and has armor, then print out, you have full gear. And now we'll say else if has sword and not has armor, then we're going to print out prints, you need some armor. But then we'll say else if has armor and not has swords. Now we flipped it. Now you have armor but no sword. Over here we had a sword but no armor. But if and not has swords, you're basically saying this not is basically saying the same as has sword is equal to false because up here it's true. But the reason why we use like not to flip it is because, let me just write this down, is because sometimes these values when we're actually like making game logic these will not be static. These will not be true forever. These will be conditional based on what the player has. And sometimes the player will not have a sword. And sometimes he will have a sword. So the not is nice because it's going to flip whatever it is, the value that the player has. Compared to just hard coding saying has sword is equal to false, Well, now this will only run if he only has a sword is equal to false. But what if it was something different? You know. So this is why it's useful, because these operators will be able to use logic for way more instances than just saying equal to this. Is this? You can get it's a lot more nuanced. That's a good way to say it. So else if armor and not has sword, then we're gonna print you need a weapon. And then yeah, let's actually just print this out. I was gonna make another one, but let's have some fun with the ors. So now we're gonna print this all out. You have full gear. Very nice. I have full armor. So now let's make one of these false. Has sword is false. So if we make has sword equals to false, we would even have to like check which one and read the logic, because we have a print statement. You need a weapon. Okay. And I know that's this one right here. You need a weapon. Nice. See how one of the conditions was not true? Right here. Let me just get back to the damn script. One of these conditions was not true. Has sword was not true. So immediately, one of them was not true, and we had the and statement. So we're just gonna go down. Okay. If you have to have a sword, but again, we don't have a sword. And then right here, this is the only condition that was true. We had armor, and we didn't have a sword. So we needed a weapon. So that's a really basic rundown of ands. Now, let's use the or statement. And actually, I'm just going to copy and paste this right here that I already had. These little examples. And then, oh yeah, not to mention, we can actually print out something along these lines. We can say print out has sword and has armor. And this is going to print out a bool value. So let's actually just make this true. True. So we can print out this is bool value. That's pretty sick, isn't it? That's so cool. And then if I made this false, there's nothing going to print out. It would literally be false, yeah. Because it's saying it's basically saying the truth value of this right here is false. And now let's actually just get these examples out here. Let's get rid of this. Health and armor. Yeah, this is the or ones. Or actually, no, this one sucks. Okay. So now we're going to say, with our or conditions right here, at least one condition must be true. You can see how this one might be a little bit useful as well. So we can now say, if has sword or has armor, then we'll print out you have half, or we'll say 1/2 gear. So he needs like another gear to be at full gear. Because if you have either a sword or armor, well then you'll have half gear. So let's see. You have half gear. There we go. Now if we made both of these true, this is what's gonna happen. It's going to print out because it's gonna see that if has sword right away, and it's gonna be like, oh, this is true. We have or statement. We'd even have to look at this condition because one of them was true. However, if I made has sword was false, it's still gonna print out because the armor one is true. But the way the computer computed the logic was it looked at has sword and said, oh shit, this is false. Okay, or okay, let's look at the or value. Our fallback has armor. It's true. Okay, we can run this code. And or statements are really nice for like fallbacks or like default. For example, I could set like health is equal to player health, right? For example, or 50, like a fallback. Or even damage. You would say like has sword or not, that's a boolean. We'll say like sword.damage or something. Like when you make a sword, it has like a damage variable. And I'll say damage. But what if there's no damage like value in the sword? Like I forgot to do that one time. Okay, we'll use or 20. So if there is no value in here, then it'll just fall back to just 20. Which is pretty useful, pretty nice. And then now we can say else if has sword and has armor. Well, this will never run actually. But you can see how the or statement works. So we can even use it with more false ones. So we can say like if 5 is equal to 5 or 3 is equal to 2, then print numbers, whatever. So let's actually see this. Numbers, there we go. Our or statement is working. Or statements are really not used a lot. Now they definitely are. You definitely are going to be using or statements, but you will not use them as much as and. That's for sure. And is the high condition one is very, very used like a lot. An or statement is really just for fallbacks. Like if you can't find something, you use this or. But it is nice to know. Or statements, you just want one condition to be true. And statements, all the conditions must be true. And now we have to go to this not right here. And this one is, let me fix this. This one's pretty self-explanatory. The not is just the negation. So it's literally just saying, we could say like print out not has sword. And this is going to print out the opposite value of have sword. And has sword is false, so it's going to print out true. True. There we go. And now we can even use this more practically. We can say like if has sword and not has armor, which we already did this, I'm pretty sure actually. There we go, autofill for me. And then else if has armor and not has the sword, we already did this. Okay, yeah, we already did these. We'll use not and print, or and. But yeah, that's a pretty basic rundown of all of these. And that's really about it for this video. The or statement needs at least one condition to be true. The and statement needs at least... Actually, let me actually put these all back, because these are pretty nice to have. But yeah, the or statement needs at least one condition to be true. The and statement needs at least two conditions, or all conditions to be true. So all x must be true. X is like our conditions. Or statement has at least one x must be true, are all our conditions. Not is just the negation of some sort of bool value. So if you have not false, that just becomes true. And not true just becomes false. You can see how this will be useful in other cases. Equal to symbol, this symbol right here, just equal to, is something, it's a comparison. While the equal to is just a declaration setting something to something. So this always trips people out, but equal is just comparing, while equal is just setting value of. You're basically saying this is equal to. Is this equal to? And then not equal to. Let me actually put this in front of it so it's easier to read. And then the not equal to is basically saying the not equal to. Is this not equal to this? The not. It's literally, you could put not in front of this. It's the opposite value. Pretty self-explanatory stuff. Is 5 not equal to 3? That's true. It's not equal. And yeah, that's really about it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. The operators and symbols are extremely useful. So if you need any more practice or have any more questions, anything I said that or didn't go over, leave them down in the comments below. I'll respond to everything. And that's really about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.